What's up, guys? Mount Vernon Kid here, coming to you again. How's everybody doing on their end? Hope everybody's well. Welcome back to the Opinion Spot. Uh, so what's the topic for today? What's the agenda for today? Well, this one goes out to basically all my gamers. As you know, I'm a fellow gamer. It's a hobby of mine, and that's always going to be. So this one goes to all my gamers, especially gamers that are fans, loyal fans of this genre, fighting games. So as you can see that title, have fighting games returned to glory? To their glory, or basically. For years, we've seen this genre of gaming has had its ups and downs. From its beginnings, I guess you could say from the late 80s to having its biggest stint in the 90s. I mean, come on, guys. Every company had a fighting game series or so. Not just the big wigs. Every company. Some were big, some were small, some were looked down upon, but they were there. Fighting games were everywhere. They were just as big as action-adventure games, RPG, simulated games, role-playing games, you name it. They were there. And then, I say by the late 90s or 2000s or so, we started to see the decline of fighting games. Only those that stuck, that had had the revenue or so to change, or that were able to go with the times in terms of Tekken, Virtual Fighter, things like that. At the beginning, you can probably throw in there Mortal Kombat, but at the beginning of the stint, let's face it, Mortal Kombat 4 sucked. Okay, let's put it like that. It sucked. Street Fighter tried to go into the 3D realm, but it didn't work. EX to me was a debacle. It just showed that games like that needed to stay 2D. We saw that for a while. We really did. And for a guy for yours truly speaking to you guys, that hurt, because I'm very much an open book, guys. And opinion wise, fighting games are upon some of my favorite genre of gaming. I love the shooters. I love action adventure games like God of War and things like that. Open world games, yeah, I love. But sometimes you can't beat a good fighting game. And with that being said, we saw the decline. But like I said, the ones that still had the aware to change with the times, it worked for them. But the thing about fighting games to me was that they sometimes didn't change their detail, in terms of they didn't change what brought them to the dance, but they just added to it. In terms of the crossover games, the crossover fighting games, the tag games, you tag in a person and that other person come in. Mainly, I'm talking about most of the Capcom crossover games. We saw that. But in Japan, fighting games are still right up there. There are fighting games in Japan that probably won't or ever come here to the States. Hence, that's why you have to import them or so. You got to import them. And that's kind of sad, because it seems that with all the other genre of gamings that seems to be riding high, look at games that are coming out next year or so from the new Max Payne. That looks beautiful. Asura's Wrath, what else can I put up in there? Darksider 2, the shooter games that are coming out as well. And then even the games that are now out, from Assassin's Creed and Arkham City and, you know, uh, Call of Duty, of course, you know, and then the RPG games as well. It's like, everybody still, those games keep improving, but then I try to say, don't knock the fighting games. We still have some good fighting games coming out, and it really does my heart good to see that this genre of gaming is still around. It's still around and still kicking. It's not like they've gone away. They're basically saying that we're still here. We're here to stay, and we're gonna bring games out for those loyal fans of fighting game genre, of this genre. I'm not quitting. And that makes me feel real good. With the fighting games that came out this year, I talked about how Mortal Kombat really had to inch their way into the 3D realm. What I said, Mortal Kombat 4, it was a piece of garbage to me. I'm sorry, but if anybody else liked it, that's you. But personally, with me, it was a piece of garbage. We saw them finally kick it up a notch with Deadly Alliance, and from there, it got better and yes, a lot of people don't have their issues with Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe. I know I do. It tried. But then, when Boone said he was working on the next Mortal Kombat, and he always thanked, he said Gears of War really and basically influenced him on what the new Mortal Kombat was going to be like. And that new Mortal Kombat, this year's new Mortal Kombat was a hit. That was a home run. It had us very much intrigued, And then you got more of the fighting games that are more of the move around, open world, like Smash Brothers and things like that. Capcom needs to help. Capcom, you guys are milking your franchises like Street Fighter and Resident Evil and things like that. You need to start bringing back some of the franchises that need to have a new sequel. And your competition to, your answer to Smash Brothers, Power Stone, needs to come back. That was a great fighting game franchise. Another 3D franchise that worked from the get-go, Rival Schools. Or even a fighting game franchise that Capcom made that not too many people may have remembered, Star Gladiator. Okay? But with the fighting games, it's just a matter of, you bring back what brought you to the dance. And to me, fighting games are still there. They're there, people. I have to admit it. They are there. Could they be better? Should we see more companies bringing up new fighting game genre or bringing a new fighting game series? Yes, I agree with that. Because there's only so much, we want to see from the old school or the in terms of the kings of the fighting game series. Though we like seeing, new sequels, but we also want to see new blood come in. It's all about new blood to me. And with the series now, with coming next year, 2012, we're getting some old new games, but we've seen these from Soul Calibur 5. That'll be the first fighting game of the year to hit. Will I be getting it? Yes. I'm not going to lie to you. Yes, I am. Will I do a review on it? You probably will see it. And of course, the big crossover, once again, with Capcom. Street Fighter Cross Tekken. And then later on, that year or so on, they say next year, the 2013, there's sequel to that. Tekken Cross Street Fighter. Which I think a lot of people want to see because they want to see how the Street Fighter character is going to look in the Tekken universe. And of course, you got Tekken Cross Tekken Tag Tournament 2, which comes out later. 2012. There are other games like they're another Virtual Fighter game, and things like that. And of course, the very popular Naruto, Ninja Storm games. That's pretty much an open world fighting game genre. They'll be out as well. We still have them out there, and that's good. It's very good. But it's like I said, to me, the fighting game genre to me is like a seasoned boxer. They can get knocked down, but they get back up. They get back up, and come on. They always bring new stuff, but they keep what brought them to the dance. And I love that. So, with me talking enough about my opinion on this, I feel that fighting games have returned to their glory. They do have their glory back. They are back, and they're here to stay. And with all the other great genres out there, they're here. But I ask you that question. How do you feel about this? Answer that question, people. To all my fellow fighting game crew, gamers, have fighting games return to their glory. And I'll leave you with that. But thanks again, guys, for listening. I appreciate it. Thank you for listening once again. This is the Opinion Spot, where your opinions count. Y'all take care.